this might be the game of the week, the game that I think everybody's looking forward to the most. It's maybe not a primetime game this week, and that is Commanders Ravens. We got Jaden Daniels, we got Lamar Jackson. We got these two teams that are playing really, really well, playing good football. I'm very curious what your matchup that matters in this one is.
Yeah, it really speaks to what the league thought of the Commanders leading into this season versus the surprise that they've been, given the fact that this is a game that is in the first window and probably
Right.
should be in prime time at this point. I think the one that matters is how well this Washington run defense can fare against both Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson. It's either in the beginning of the season, I was a little concerned with the fact that they weren't quite using Lamar Jackson the way I thought they were going to complement Derrick Henry and kind of force defenses to contend with two different runners, one of which is the quarterback, which I think is just nearly impossible. But that's really kind of changed since the beginning of the season. Lamar Jackson has 13 rushes of 10 yards or more, which is the second most in the NFL. On quarterback, or for quarterbacks, it's the most period, second most period. And then Derrick Henry, 571 rushing yards. Most in the NFL. I don't think anybody's surprised about that. 318 rushing yards after contact. That is the big thing with Derrick Henry, is how much he can get after you try to tackle him, first in the beginning. So 19 missed tackles forced on runs. That's fourth in the NFL. It's pretty incredible what he's able to do. And then you add on the fact that you have a legitimate running threat at quarterback. Commanders run defense this season, 22nd. They rank 22nd in the league, 24 rushes allowing 10 or more yards, which is the
Yeah.
most of any team. And they have the second worst explosive run play percentage allowed, which is at 20.5%. So 20.5% of these runs are explosive coming against the Commanders defense. And that's concerning when you have the most explosive rushing offense with the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I'll just say my plus factor now, just for conversation and transition's sake. I mean, it is Derrick Henry. I mean, to me, he is the ultimate sort of game wrecker in this one, where I think that it's not like these two teams are perfect going up against each other on both sides of the ball, but it really is a strength versus a weakness, and how much that strength can overcome the Commanders' run defense. To me, that could just be something that we'll talk about. All the national highlights are going to be about Jaden Daniels versus Lamar Jackson. But if Derrick Henry has his way, as he is leading the NFL in rushing so far through 5 weeks, if he has his way, I don't even know how much the Commanders' offense is going to be able to make up for it. I don't even know how much Lamar is going to think we think that he is going to have to do in this game. 318 rushes after contact for Derrick Henry. That is second most in the NFL. 19 missed tackles forced on runs. That is fourth in the NFL. And then he leads the league in rushing with 571 rushing yards. So he's a top five back in every sense of the word. And Washington has struggled against the run so far this season. I think an area that, to me, the matchup that matters specifically, and I sort of found this stat because I've been watching Jaden Daniels do this a lot more this season than he did at LSU, which is throw on the run.
On scrambles, yep.
We've talked about that here before on this show, and I'm emphasizing it here as the matchup that matters, because Daniels has been excellent when throwing on the run, and he really did not do it a lot at LSU. A lot of people think, oh, mobile guy, Heisman Trophy winner. You see the crazy scramble runs from him,
Right.
and you kind of assume like, oh man, he could be a great throwing quarterback on the run as well. Maybe when we were watching him at LSU, it was sort of like, okay, and I was building a scouting report. Sure, that's possible for him. We didn't see him do it a lot. He had 15 total attempts when scrambling last year. 15, whole season, whole Heisman Trophy winning season. 15 total attempts when scrambling. This year, he's already got way more than that. Through 5 weeks, he has an 87.5 passing grade when scrambling. He's already 8 for 7, has 2 big-time throws, and most importantly, 16 first downs, either as a runner or a passer when it comes to getting out of the pocket and on scramble plays. That is first in the NFL. Now, the reason why I'm bringing that up is because it ties into a matchup that matters, because the Baltimore Ravens defense have a 57.6 coverage grade against quarterbacks on scramble plays. That's just 24th in the NFL. They've also given up 6 plays, passing plays specifically, of 15 yards or more to quarterbacks when scrambling. That's the second most in the NFL. So not only is an area where we could give Jaden Daniels some praise, specifically against the Baltimore Ravens, they have not covered mobile quarterbacks passing outside of the tackles. And Jaden's the best one in the NFL that we have seen so far 5 weeks into the season. So that to me is a big time matchup that matters. What's your plus factor in this one?
Yeah, it goes right along with that. And I'm glad that you called out the just kind of blossoming we've seen from Jaden Daniels, because that was my biggest concern with him coming into the league was, can you look for additional throwing lanes when you're on the run? Because he's quite frankly not big enough to do what he did at LSU, which is just kind of tuck the ball and get those extra yards with his legs. And he was taking a lot of hits as a result. And he's not that big of a guy. And against NFL competition, I was just really concerned about it. So to see this blossoming, he's an absolute menace when it comes to scrambling around in the backfield. Trying to contain him is the most important part for this Baltimore defense, which is why my plus factor is Roquan Smith. And he was very confident this week when he was talking to reporters saying, well, Jaden Daniels has never seen a defense like ours. He said that on Wednesday. And he's rightfully so, kind of being a little bit more confident against a rookie quarterback, given that the Baltimore defense, and Baltimore in particular, is 15-2 against rookie quarterbacks. So they seem to be able to kind of confuse and get these guys off their game a little bit. But again, in the way that maybe Jaden Daniels hasn't seen a defense like Baltimore's, I don't know that Baltimore has really seen a rookie quarterback like him, because he's doing all of these crazy things for a rookie quarterback to start the season, and it seems to be here to stay. It also seems like Cliff Kingsbury knows exactly how to use him and exactly how much of a leash to give Jaden Daniels, given the fact that he is now throwing on the run for all of those things that you just said. Mm-hmm. Containing him is the number one priority of this Baltimore defense, and Roquan Smith in particular is going to be one of those guys that I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up spying Jaden Daniels, trying to kind of follow him around and set that edge a little bit more when Jaden tries to scramble out of the pocket. He might meet Roquan Smith, and that's something that Roquan Smith likes to do. So he's got, not to mention, I mean, Roquan Smith has a really great rapport with the guys in front of him, Nnamdi Madubuike being one of them, who is getting a ton of pressure from that interior on that defensive line. So the way that this Ravens defense can work together up front in particular to contain Jaden Daniels makes it my plus factor.
There you go. I like it. I think that there's, two players in Kyle Hamilton and Roquan Smith who could be big time plus factors in how you defend Jaden Daniels.